What up, Doc?
This guy's a genius. He does stuff that I'm scared to do.
When you're watching him perform live, he's mind-bogglingly good.
He approaches comedy seriously.
He's got a lot of depth and a lot of rage inside of him.
Don't ever contradict me!
Jim Carrey, everybody. Jim Carrey and MTV. A comic combination that has produced some of the channel's most memorable moments.
Every moment is a favorite Jim Carrey moment.
Now, for the first time, Uncensored looks at Jim Carrey, blemishes and all.
It's either pimples or a high-powered rifle, buddy!
Revealing never-before-seen outtakes and behind-the-scenes stories of his most infamous MTV appearances. Plus an inside look at his newest film, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. All that and a no-holds-barred, uncensored interview.
Now we're off the cuff.
All right, then.
Now
Okay.
your questions that you sat up all night long drinking. And I'll ask them this. They won't know that it has a secret meaning. And then I ask him this, and if he doesn't want to answer that, I'll come around the back door and ask him this. Okay, now's your chance. Now ask me real crap.
You?
Yeah,
Are you still in love?
I can't answer that.
It's MTV's Jim Carrey, Uncensored.
Jim, it sure would be good if you could go down there, just, you got the Grinch coming out, sure would be good if you could get on that MTV music thing, Jim, and gee golly gosh, just wow them, But I don't want to put any pressure on you, Jim. I want you to be totally comfortable. And I said, Ron, cut the crap. I know a threat when I hear it.
No threats needed. When we come back, Jim and Ron team up for Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Action! Brilliant!
Spanking New Music Week, a full week of first looks and first listens with 98 Degrees.
Kids today, so desensitized.
Of course, there's usually a reason why Jim Carrey stops by MTV, and this time it's because he happens to have a new movie coming out, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
The Grinch!
Like eggnog, Silent Night, and stockings hung by the chimney with care, the Dr. Seuss favorite How the Grinch Stole Christmas can only mean one thing. Yuletide is coming. Talking about Christmas inspired Jim Carrey to share some uncensored stories of his own. What was Christmas like at your house back in the day?
It was a blast. My family were so fun at Christmas time, and we would go out to my sister's place in the country, and it was so bizarre. We had a very strange family. But whenever somebody was coming up the road, we could see them coming up the road for ages, and we would all put stockings on our heads and get picks and shovels and axes and chainsaws and stuff from the garage, and we'd run into the ditch and we'd come flying out at them like that, it's the Texas Chainsaw. That was Christmas to us.
Wasn't the first performance you did somehow connected with Christmas?
Oh yeah, it was a Christmas assembly. Yeah, it was. I think it was grade 2. It was music class, and some kind of a violin concerto was playing on the record player, and I just started, monkeying in the back of the class there, doing whatever, mocking it. The teacher centered me out and said, Jim Carrey, if you want to do that, and do it in front of the whole class, like that, and of course I did. I got up, and she thought she was going to completely humiliate me, and I had been doing this at home, this kind of stuff forever, but I'd never done it in school. I was pretty much a non-entity in school,
right.
And I'm going back to that now.
You're trying to be a non-entity now.
Yes.
Just stay at home.
Peace in that, Chris.
I hear you.
Come with me.
I've been there for a long time. This holiday season, Jim revisits his days as a Christmas ham, playing the Grinch in Ron Howard's big screen version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Well, that worked out nicely.
So many people ask that, what's Jim Carrey like? And Jim is so funny, but he's also I would say he approaches comedy seriously.
Sometimes he would make a joke, and I wouldn't understand it, but I would just laugh because I knew who's making a joke.
But one thing no one was joking about was the tedious and painful physical transformations Jim and his fellow cast members had to undergo. It looked like the most painful thing to wear, like in American history.
What are you talking about?
Your little Grinch costume there.
Oh, somebody's fabulous! It was very painful. It was extremely painful.
It was uncomfortable.
Very hard to blow your nose.
Impossible. Hard to breathe.
It was an amazing lesson in self-control. It's amazing what human beings can kind of like get used to, you know? At this point I could be held underwater for about 20 minutes, probably.
This won't be absolutely necessary.
And be brought back to life and just go like, next.
With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick.
Didn't they tell you going in it was going to be like painful and difficult?
You don't think about that, you know. You just think they're Grinch, you know, and it's great, and it's an amazing honor to be part of it. Okay, that's the crap. Anyway, now you never really know what's going on until you get in that suit, man. Mm-hmm. That suit is unbelievable, you know. And then when you've done the hours of makeup and then you get the suit on,
right.
And it's just do you care? Does the audience care?
They do care.
They just want to be entertained. They don't want to hear my complaining. They don't want to hear the bitching.
I'm going to throw up, and then we're going to die!
He did find the whole process very torturous, and I was afraid he was going to kill me on numerous days.
Almost lost my cool there.
Jim was in such pain, he needed help from our armed forces. You had a Navy SEAL come in and teach you survival technique?
It's a guy who trains people how to handle torture. And he this all sounds so fun, doesn't it? He taught me these little things, these pain deferment things. It's amazing how beneficial just spinning a little rock in your wrong hand can be. It just takes you out. Or pounding yourself in the leg. That was the other thing that was fun. You know, just every once in a while I'd be sitting on the set, you know, and everybody'd be like nice and peaceful with the Christmas vibe, and I'd go, you know, and just pound myself in the leg, because the pain, localized pain, would actually get you out of your discomfort.
And so this was something that somebody, I might just have somebody do it. No, it didn't hurt enough. Even Ron Howard attempted to endure the difficult makeup process.
It was funny, one day Ron got made up too and put the Grinch costume on and felt the pain.
One day, just as a kind of a show of support or something, or maybe it was just wanting a cheap laugh, I showed up at 3:30 in the morning and put on the makeup. But Jim gave me a really dirty look, and I couldn't figure it out. I thought he'd like the fact that I dressed up, but I hadn't spoken yet. So when I mentioned something to Jim, he suddenly looked at me. He said, "Ron?" He said, "I thought you were a really bad double."
It was good. Only he didn't have the contacts. That's what drives you over the edge, you know, is the, now we're going to put salt in your eyes.
Now, these aren't your standard contacts. They're larger than normal contacts?
They're the whole eyeball.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's quite a bit to deal with. What's happening with my hair? Oh, God, help me. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. Oh, damn it.
And that was when we lost him.
That's when Jim went south.
He
just seemed so unhappy after that.
That's right. There was something about the hair issue that really kind of...
Am I on the left side or the right? Was I... Wait. Okay, we're good. Okay. Huh? What's up? Oh, Christ.
I'll have to get a rock for you to play in your hand there.
Okay, how's that?
Just keep pounding. Yeah.
Am I cool? Yeah. Okay.
That's lovely.
Don't touch me.
When we come back, more with Jim Carrey and the people of Whoville.
Wait, I could have...
Don't go away.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas began as a book by Dr. Seuss and became an equally beloved Chuck Jones cartoon that first aired on TV in 1966. But how do you transfer such a beloved story onto the big screen and into the 21st century?
It's an interesting thing because you've got, Whoville, and you've got Dr. Seuss. There are no references you can pull from society. You can't, suddenly do a rap line or something like that, or do, something that's thought of as contemporary. You know, you can't do that because it's a whole world unto itself. So you have to create it new.
So new characters were created to interact with the old Seuss favorites. Among them, Christine Baranski's Martha May, a Martha Stewart-like Who, and Betty Lou Who, portrayed by SNL's Molly Shannon. Martha's rival and next-door neighbor.
Daddy! Hi! Martha! My character, Betty Lou Who, is very competitive with Martha May. She just has it all together. She's perfect. Everything's really organized, and she's just a winner.
My, I've never seen so many beautiful Christmas lights, Betty Lou.
Well, I'd blow every fuse if I tried to keep up with you, Martha May. I wish I could be like her. I really, put her on a pedestal, but I'm just not as, together as she is. I really feel like if I win this lighting contest, and that'll mean that I'm worth something, and that everything will be okay, and I'm sort of losing the whole meaning of Christmas and what it's about, and I get a little crazy in my obsession with winning this contest.
Oh, I can feel it, Lou. This is the year when everybody asks who has the most spectacular lights in all of Greater Whoville. They're gonna cry out, Mrs. Betty Lou Who.
Isn't this the chandelier from the dining room?
It's all for the cause, dear.
Also inhabiting Whoville are Betty Lou's mail carrier husband, played by comic genius Bill Irwin, and the town's mayor and lackey, Jeffrey Tambor and Clint Howard, respectively, who face off with the infamous Grinch.
Did someone just say Grinch?
Hello, Mayor Mayhew, sir. We're invented characters, so we had a little largesse. I don't need to remind you that this Christmas marks the 1,000th jubilation.
Whoville's most important celebration.
Sir, the boys didn't see any Grinch.
He was right after us.
I think they were just up on the mountain playing with matches or defacing public property or...
Oh, well, that's a relief.
Whoville is also filled with characters you're sure to recognize.
Santa,
What?
don't forget the Grinch.
Newcomer Taylor Mumson plays the unflappably wide-eyed Cindy Lou Who.
I know he's mean and hairy and smelly. His hands might be cold and clammy. But I think he's actually kind of sweet.
What does Cindy see in him that other people don't?
She's a child, and because she's kind of, she's got this, she has a sweet kind of honesty about her.
You think he's sweet?
Merry Christmas, Santa. She heard the story that all the kids were mean to him when he was a little boy.
The innocence of a child. Kids see that stuff. They see whether you're, really kind of a jerk or not.
And when Cindy Lou went up with her cup,
Nice kid.
bad judge of character, he went to the chimney and stuck the tree up.
The Grinch is the ultimate anti-hero, and that it's just perfect that it came to me in my life. It's exactly, what I dealt with and who I am.
How about those who's inviting me down now on such short notice? Even if I wanted to go, my schedule wouldn't allow it.
He's everybody who's ever felt like they weren't part of the club.
4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again.
He's crazed, but he's got a reason to be.
7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I want the loathing to 9, I could still be down to the ceiling and slip slowly into madness. What would I wear?
He's hurt.
I myself am having some Yuletide doubts.
Don't care.
Maybe if you can reunite with the Who's and be a part of Christmas.
Maybe if you can reunite with the Who's and be a part of Christmas.
Grow up!
Some people get hurt, and then they there's a fork in the road at some point, and they decide to either, hate everybody for it, or try to understand why they're hurting them.
This could change my entire outlook on life.
Really?
No.
He just took that fork. He took a hard left.
Up into the mountain.
You got to beware of who you persecute. Because they'll steal your Christmas presents.
Jim wasn't beyond borrowing some mannerisms from a few familiar sources.
You're a reindeer. Here's your motivation. Your name is Rudolph. You're a freak with a red nose and nobody likes you. Then one day, Santa at you and you save Christmas.
Is that Ron you're doing when you put the cap on there?
Yeah, it's an amalgamation. It's a concoction. It's a phlegmentation.
What did you think of the impression? The Grinch doing Ron Howard, directing a scene?
Cut, Fred, check the gate, moving on.
Were you going for like a Sean Connery kind of thing with the Grinch a couple of times?
No, I'm sure that was just a mistake.
You have no messages.
Odd. Better check the outgoing.
There's a little sort of Scottish inflections. That kind
Well,
of.
Sean and I
Yeah.
cut from the same cloth, pretty much.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If a woman needs a slap, damn it, I'll give it to her. I asked for 3/4, not 5/8. Stay focused!
How was that dog to work with? It's always tricky when you work
There were
with
like
pets.
3 different dogs, you know. One of them was a Chihuahua, so it was hard, you know, for the wide shots.
The Taco Bell guy.
Yeah, right.
He has a big agent and stuff.
He transforms himself. It's unbelievable, that Taco Bell dog. It's unbelievable, man. It's like De Niro of the dog world. He put on so much weight and became a freaking Malamute at first, and then suddenly he was like this golden lab, you know, and it was just freaky.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
That certainly sounds like your voice doing "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch."
Yeah, yeah.
How was that?
That's so cool, man.
You really are.
Ah, right. And I did a version with Busta Rhymes, too.
Is that right?
Yeah, we did a rap thing together.
This is a Flip Mode Squad Jim Carrey collabo.
He was a great guy. Great guy. Sorry to spoil it. No. My daughter came in, and she was freaked. Suddenly I was a star.
To be hanging with Busta.
You know, she doesn't care about anything I do. It's like she's proud and stuff like that, but it's more like, you know, she's got to go to school and deal, you know? I saw Dad's hiney on the Rolling Stone cover. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, it's hard.
Busta Rhymes, I will get you.
Relax, dude. You need to chill. Something wrong with you.
Busta Rhymes, man, it was like, she thought I was cool. For the first time, I think, she was like, wow, Dad, that's awesome.
And even Jim is impressed with how Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas turned out.
God, this is exactly what you dream about when you're a kid thinking about being in the movies someday.
Have the best Christmas ever!
They did an incredible job, and once you get it all together, all the elements, it's just fun stew. Fun stew with, I don't know, Giggles dumplings.
Don't think for a second that this interview with Jim Carrey is without its own uncensored moments. You know, we could just keep you forever here.
I want you
But
to.
we can't.
No, please do. Please do. You ever see Officer and a Gentleman?
I got nowhere to go. I got no place else to go.
People want to hate each other, man. You know, what is that about?
That's why we need people like you so much in the world, right?
We need Depeche Mode.
You need Depeche Mode?
People love people. Isn't that Depeche Mode?
I think that's Depeche Mode. You got the anger management tool.
See, I got scared there. You need to be thought of as brilliant?
Yeah, sure.
Do you?
Yeah. No,
Good luck. No. Still believing the dream? Still in denial? Huh?